are talking with Skeletonwitch. You've just played Heavy Montreal. How was that experience for you?
It was great.
Yes.
Had a blast. We played, I believe, the very first Heavy MTL, and then this one.
Yeah, 2008.
I think we were on what was called the forest stage. We were in the woods, basically.
Yeah, the side stage. That was it.
It was nice. It was cool though because everyone
you had shade.
Everyone walked up the hill and came and
we're a little too dangerous for the main thoroughfare.
So let's talk about it. You've been a band since 2003. Talk to me about the challenges of keeping it going and keeping it as a business, because it's a very challenging thing these days.
Yeah, I mean, and also in 2003, at the genesis of our band, we didn't consider it a business. We were just buddies hanging out, playing music. That's sort of a progression over time. Like, I think if anyone starts a band as a business immediately, they're probably doing it for the wrong reasons. But it definitely turns into one once you realize that you can.
But you have to learn it very quickly, though.
But yes, at some point, with labels and people like trying to sign contracts that are not always in your interest and all that, you have to become a businessman at some point.
Basically, my social security number was our business ID for the first 5 years, so I just paid taxes on the money we made. But of course, obviously the band paid for it.
Right.
Don't tell Uncle Sam.
Do not. Uncle Sam.
W9?
Uncle Sam doesn't live in Canada, so.
No.
But yeah, it eventually, once everything started to make sense, we had to become a business.
Right.
But, I mean, the challenge is like, that's a question that could be longer than you're trying to actually schedule for this whole interview.
Right.
But you have to love what you do, and Nate and I have loved it, and we've done it since day one. Like, there's never been a Skeletonwitch show that we haven't played, when we're the only two guys that can say that. Even with Chance, who's not in the band anymore, we did several shows instrumentally. And it was Nate's brainchild from the beginning. I met him and he brought me on and taught me the songs the songs he was working on, and we started it from there. So, I mean,
but it's a wake-up call,
I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back or anything, or that kind of deal, but like Nate and I have been just working at it for so long and love doing it that we fortunately have found other people that do, and the people that didn't love it as much or didn't take it as seriously have sort of fallen by the wayside or been removed. And I'm not speaking about anyone in particular, but like, old bass player, old drummer and stuff. Like, when we were just being a fun college band and it got serious, it was like, oh, okay, here we go. And Nate and I have always just sort of been at the helm together, business-wise and music-wise, like making it all make sense and doing it. So,
but let's talk about that a bit.
That's what's kept it going. It's probably the two of us, and
because really. there is a time where you got 4 guys or 5 guys in a basement and think, oh, this is fun. We'll meet girls. We'll do this. And then the business creeps in, and then there's also the commitment because you're on the road, you're away from family, you're away from mom. Somebody's sick at home and you can't be there. And talk to me about that kind of commitment and what it takes, because a lot of people listening think, I'm just going to plug in a guitar and I'm going to rock these stages. It doesn't work like that.
For me, the biggest lucky thing for me was that girls weren't an issue because I have this current body and I've had it for a long time. So I didn't have that distraction. Like, I was like parents' basement loser playing guitar.
Right.
And then, so like as far as just getting chops, that happened through that, and then meeting Scotty. Once we met and the 4 demo songs I had, he was into. That's when it became more of It was never about girls to me. I mean, shit.
No, we actually.
That's when you're that young. It's also just like the same thing as like, oh, we're gonna get signed and make a bunch of money. It's like we're gonna be Poison. It's like, I'm gonna get pussy. We're gonna be Poison. Neither one happens.
Yeah, just ridiculous.
You didn't get to be Poison.
We never got to be Poison.
Yeah, Nate and I weren't like, let's start this band, because we actually started this band and listened to more music and like showed each other guitar riffs that we had and songs, and we were like, yes, that's awesome. And we got more stoked about the music. We didn't think, let's go here and do this, and maybe maybe we'll get blowjobs if we do this. Maybe we'll get money if we do this. Maybe we'll get free drugs if we do this. Like, I don't care about that. Like, if that's what I'm after, like, there's easier ways to get them than to fucking really practice hard, form a business, like write all these songs, sign with a label, like negotiate contracts, tour, sleep shitty. Like, there's so many. I'm sure there's. Guys, I don't mean to alarm you. There's plenty of people who are not musicians that get drugs, have sex, do all these things. So for us,
there's a lot of guys that aren't in bands that have sex.
Yeah. So for us, that
never happened. I don't understand.
I think that's partially like, to really get back to your question is like what's sustained us, or how do we do it, or with the adversity, or how ridiculous it can be with relationships and all that stuff, is that we always just cared about the music, and we did it when we were college students and we weren't married. We still aren't married. We don't have children. We we chose this path at a young age, and we thought we don't really want to do this or that, like this sort of home life, this sort of.
You don't want to work at Dunkin' Donuts?
I want to work at Tim Hortons.
There you go.
Oh, that's where you make
I'm
it.
playing to the Canadian audience.
Always
That's
smile.
how you make it.
Yeah.
Now,
but so that helped us a lot. Like not having these, like we pretty much chose this and said we will not have those distractions. We just want to do this.
let's talk about the vocalist change. Obviously, something very important. The voice is usually the sound of the band. You think of Aerosmith, you think Steven Tyler. You don't think Brad Whitford. You think, Rat, you think Stephen Pearcy. You don't think Bobby Blotzer. Sorry, I'm
No.
hair guy. What does it mean to change the voice of the band, and does it open new doors? Like, all of a sudden, there's new sounds you can get? And
Well, when you think of when you think of
Led
Toka
Zeppelin?
or Tudor, or you think of like black metal bands, what singer comes to your mind?
Yeah, I think we're not.
black metal bands. Let me think.
No, specifically like those bands.
Well, they'd be-
Exactly.
Exactly. There's not a lot of
Yeah.
voices.
I mean, even though Chance was a identifying part of Skeletonwitch,
Right.
it was still me and Scotty writing all the music.
Right.
So, as you know, as much as people might miss a certain part, like
Or they get to love a new part. though.
well, yeah, but the background is the same. It's like,
Right.
you know.
Like. I was going to say something. I was going to say something.
Is it tough to talk about because it was not as a nice split, or
no? Yes and no, but I don't want to discredit anything Chance did.
Of course.
But he would also agree with you that like his voice was more of another instrument than it was like he wasn't a singer in the way that Steven Tyler is. Like
Yeah.
I mean his voice is more of an instrument, more of an extreme metal band.
Right.
So it's not so pitchy and
Right.
and sing sung. So in that sense,
I think the biggest problem is that a personality that people liked is gone, other
Right.
than a singer's
that thing,
gone.
right.
Like it's a personality that's been there for 10 years that is now left, and then we have a new guy, and it's a different vibe. But I mean, my MO has always been the same. Me and Scotty's,
the sound of
Our main
Skeletonwitch
bag.
has been created by Nate and I mean, for all these years. And Chance as well was a part of it, but meaning like he didn't write the songs. He didn't. Yeah, so it's a tricky thing, and it's always tough to have that sort of change. And it's when you have an untenable situation and not going into any details, but like
Because we'll roll down the
Life-
cliff
life's
before we
slow.
finish the
Yeah.
story.
how do you say detail in French?
Detail.
That's what I thought.
Yep.
Exactly.
But-
details.
But,
Rendezvous.
Things change,
Rendez
things
Vals.
grow, things shit happens, and that's just life. That's just how it goes. And again, not discrediting him at all because he is a great frontman and a great singer and did a great job for so many years. But Nate started this band, and very quickly I was the next guy to join, and we sort of did it together.
Right.
And he and I will see it through one way or another to how we.
Which
how
one's
we-
Gene? Which one's Paul in this
Oh
relationship?
man, Nate's both.
I'm neither
That's a-
I'm neither business nor pleasure. I'm the guitar playing mechanic basically.
You're who is the fucking?
Yeah.
Oh God,
Who's
you're
the guitar playing mechanic in Kiss?
Tommy Thayer.
Oh yes. Oh man.
When he wins it.
But you've got the new EP, Apothic Gloom. Where do we go in terms of a full length? Because the last one was 2013, I guess it was.
Mm-hmm.
So when do we get the guys in and let's go? Let's make this the new band, the new sound. Well, probably not a new sound, but
Likely after the U.S. tour a headlining U.S. tour that we have booked.
Okay.
We're going on the road in October.
okay.
With Iron Ray Gun, Oathbreaker from Europe, and Gate Creeper and Homewrecker. And after we do that tour, there's potential for us to do some stuff in Europe. We'll see. But really, the next focus after that tour, which is on the books, it's already been announced, it's already out there and promoted. After that, it's time to buckle down and get another record out. The EP was essentially like a reintroduction, if you will.
Right,
So
of
like,
course.
here's Adam, here's the band, here's what we're doing, we're still here, we're going. Check it out, we're going to tour, come see us. And then after you come see us, give us a minute, we're going to do this.
How do the old songs sound to you with the new vocalist? Because that's always sort of like, oh, wait a minute. Like,
I think it's good, and I think today was proof because we were trying to figure out a set list. And I was like, let's hit them with fucking 3 popular Skeletonwitch songs
Right.
with a new singer.
Right.
And then the next song will be one off the EP. And it was, I mean, I know festivals have a little more energy behind them and stuff, but it's great, you know. I think everything's going well.
I mean, the reception is there, like not just today, but like the reviews, and I guess you're asking about old material as well, like show reviews, people at the shows. But ultimately, I mean, I care about this band,
Right.
And to an extent, like you don't love hearing somebody talk shit on you or say anything shitty, but to a very large extent, I just have to not fucking give a shit about what other people think if I feel good about what we're doing.
Right.
You know, obviously it affects
Well,
you.
I mean, but that's the way it should be.
And I
mean,
feel
you gotta
great
make
about
music
and
for
I feel
yourself
great about
first.
what we're doing, and so
that's where you get the passion from.
yeah, and I feel great about what we're doing, and fortunately, I'm not having to be like, oh, these people are talking shit. Like, I need to just tell them if like it's been really good.
You know, it's amazing though, because I know a lot of artists that really care about all these things that come out, and I've always wondered, or at least, why bother? Like, I do the interviews. Some people like them, some people don't.
Wish he had more hair.
Yeah, well, so what? You know,
It was like, Jesus
I do
Christ,
what I
what am I
do
supposed to
and-
do?
You do what you do, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those weird things where you start a band and you just play shit you like, you
Right.
know.
Do you
So-
get critiqued on your
so-
interviews?
sometimes. But,
Yeah. Wait till you see my blog tonight.
yeah. Well, I was with
Sorry,
Twisted
Nate,
Sister
I'm
at
gonna cut
Rockfest, and that you see that blog about Twisted Sister that came? Oh,
No, what did they do? They do
Oh,
something
I'll tell you about
wild?
that after.
Controversial?
Oh, it was terrible.
Oh, your particular interview was crazy?
No,
Your
I didn't do an
blog?
interview. I was working with them.
Oh.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, it was special. It was
But,
special. I'll tell you about. But let's get back to the.
I love the sidetrack parts of interviews where it's like,
Oh, this is the
This
best
question.
parts. No, those are the best parts.
So the-
Everything else is like you kind of where you thought it would
Go
go.
to www. for the B-roll footage. But
Sweet. We'll fix this in post.
in terms of recording a new album with the new guy, do you still stick to this sort of Skeletonwitch sound, or do you say, hey, now that we've got a new guy, let's try something different? Or is it like, fans aren't gonna like that?
I think that we had kind of like
A sound.
like that. Well, but we had like Venus and Mars aligned because Scotty wrote the majority of this EP, where in the past I wrote the majority of the albums.
Right.
And then when Adam came in, he's not such a like me and Chance are brothers, so we had this kind of like thing down, just kind of the Skeletonwitch thing down. So Adam isn't the same kind of singer Chance is.
Right.
So with Scotty's songs, it fit more with Adam. So it was kind of just like lightning struck twice, and we didn't write anything because of the new singer.
Right.
You know, we weren't like, oh, he sings this way because we had the shit written before,
Right.
basically before he joined the band.
But it's an opportunity to explore
Yeah, so,
new sounds.
Yeah, and I think the next big thing we do is going to be a bigger mix of me and Scotty. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's
like
good
I tend to write like Nate just said. I wrote more of the EP, which is uncharacteristic for us historically. And those are the longest songs we've written. He's like, "Holy shit, Scott! Like, why is this so long?" You know,
And I was like, I don't like 7-minute songs, but it's good. So
18-minute
Yeah.
songs like
the
Maiden.
the 4-song EP that basically Scotty wrote is 2/3 the length of a full length that I would write. Because I'm like 2:15, 2:30, 3-minute bangers. You know.
That's what I like, by the way.
I totally.
3 minutes in and out.
That's what I'm saying. Get this guy down the hill.
Anything after 5 minutes is sort of...
Yeah. Well, it depends what you're doing. Dude, you're a hair metal guy. Those songs are long.
No,
The choruses are like a minute.
3 minutes in
Yeah,
and
but they're
out.
singing about like pantyhose and pussy and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, pussy in, pussy out. Pussy in, pussy out.
Pantyhose, pussy, pantyhose.
Diet Coke. Yeah, you know.
Diet Crystal Pepsi. That's
Diet
shit.
Coke, panties, pussy out.
No, in all seriousness, no. I think it'll end up being a really nice blend of like Nate and I's styles.
Right.
And he's right. I totally agree with you that like my style of writing suited Adam more. And I even worked with him a little more closely, like about some vocal patterns and things while I was writing the last track, and that I think really synced up well in a way that maybe I wouldn't have been able to in the past, because he and I like gave each other some shit in a good way, like constructive criticism. He's like, maybe that solo shouldn't be there. And I was like, maybe it should be, dude. And I was like, maybe you should put these vocals here. And it was great. We laughed. I was like, man, Adam's got some spunk. Like he's like seriously critiquing a band that's been around for 10 years.
Let's keep it to 30 seconds.
And I loved it. I admired that about him. He
even
came in
the
and was
song,
like, no, dude, like
even the song
sparring
that I
with
wrote on
me.
the EP though is the same thing. It's where we've always like done this like slow progressing thing,
Right.
And even the song I wrote isn't like complete characteristic of early Skeletonwitch, but it's got the tastes of my
Right.
of what I like so it's gonna be, I think it's gonna get a little bit deeper. It's gonna be cool. It's not gonna be such a like a glaze on top. You're gonna taste the cherries within.
It'll be a nice deep album.
That's the pull quote from this interview.
You're gonna taste the cherries
One-on-one with
within.
Mitch, I interviewed Skeletonwitch. You're gonna taste the cherries within. Please just make that the quote.
There you go. Thank you.
Anyway,
great pleasure.
this is a great time to wrap it.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. On a big quote.
on the
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
It's much appreciated.
right on.
And as my knees are totally
No,
numb.
videotape us all just sliding down the hill.
Oh.